A young guy looking for adventure stumbles onto a site that takes him to a deserted paradise island in Bangkok, but things turn for the worst when he doesn't honor the deal he made. Richard is a 20-year-old American who is trying to find the best vacation spot in the world. After doing a lot of research, he finally found the place he was looking for. After typing paradise on the internet, he found a site about Bangkok and all of the beautiful places he can visit. Not thinking too much about it, he packed his suitcase, prepared his essentials, and took a flight to the capital of Thailand. Because he didn't have a lot of money, he had to stay in a dull hotel named Khao San Road. Even in Bangkok, Richard can't find the thrill he's looking for. Thankfully, he meets up with a French couple. Etienne and Francois hit it off with Richard, and the three become friends. After that, the couple meets Daffy. Daffy is the one who knows Bangkok a little better than the rest of the three, so he informs them about an island located in the Gulf of Thailand. He describes it as this beautiful place with a hidden beach that's as close to paradise as you can get. Everyone is wondering how this man knows about a beautiful island. Daffy tells them he found it by accident a few years ago. Since then, he has settled there in secret. However, due to some difficulties, not revealing what kind, he had to leave the island. Shortly after, Daffy commits suicide, but he left Richard a map for getting to this paradise island. Even though he is sad about Daffy's passing, Richard wants more than ever to visit the mysterious paradise island named Koh Samui. He tries convincing Francois and Etienne, but they refuse. Richard persists and convinces them to join him on his adventure. On their way to the island, the three met a couple of American surfers. The two tell Richard and the French couple that they've heard of the mysterious island, but they've never been there. That's when Richard pulls out a copy of the map and gives it to them. On the journey, Richard falls in love with Francois. He can't reveal his true feelings because she's together with Etienne. From a neighboring island, they can see straight to Koh Samui. Francois and Etienne tell Richard to find a boat to get across, but Richard thinks it's not that far, so he jumps in the water. Francois and Etienne follow suit, and the three make it to the island safely. As soon as they land, the trio sees a cannabis plantation. The entire thing is guarded by Thai farmers with guns. Richard, Etienne, and Francois don't want to cause any trouble and are only looking for the amazing beach Daffy told them about, so they make it across and meet with Kitty. This stranger takes the three adventurers to another group of travelers who are living on the island in secret. There, they met with Sal, the group's English leader. Having a lot of questions, Richard, Etienne, and Francois feel a bit awkward. Then, Sal informs them that the Thai farmers allow them to stay on the island as long as they don't touch the cannabis farm and as long as no new travelers come to Koh Samui. Sal then asks Richard and the group if they've shown the map to anyone else. Richard, not wanting to get kicked off the island, lies to Sal and tells her that they haven't shown the map to anyone. Soon after, everyone accepts Richard, Etienne, and Francois as part of the community. The three swim in the crystal clear water and enjoy life to the fullest. In addition to that, Francois and Richard spend more and more time apart from the tribe. One night, while everyone is celebrating, Francois invites Richard to the beach. While away from Etienne, Francois tells Richard that she is falling in love with him. Richard and Etienne kiss underwater, and they have a steamy affair in the water under the moonlight. The next morning, they swear to keep their affair a secret, but the community finds out. Etienne is both heartbroken and angry, but he promises that he will not stand in their way. He says that if Francois thinks she is better off with Richard, then so be it. Soon after, Sal has to go on a supply run to Koh Phangan. Since she needs someone to accompany her on the journey, she chooses Richard to go with her. On the island, they meet the two surfers to whom Richard gave the map. They immediately recognize him and start talking about going to Koh Samui. Sal is clearly upset that Richard lied to her, but the two make a deal. She promises not to tell anyone about the map Richard gave the surfers if he sleeps with her. Richard, not wanting to be cast away, does it on order. The two return to the island, but Richard feels the urge to tell Francois about what happened, but then lies to her and tells her nothing happened between him and Sal. Meanwhile, during a fishing trip, 3 of the community's fishermen suffer a shark attack. Two of them die on the spot, but Cristo makes it out alive, and his condition is horrible. His severe injuries require Cristo to go to the neighboring island to seek medical attention. But there are two problems. One, Cristo now has a phobia of water and will not get anywhere near it. Two, Sal refuses to call doctors to the island to help Cristo. At that moment, they decide that it would be best to leave Cristo alone in the jungle. Knowing that he is going to die, Etienne refuses to leave him behind. While the community is trying to figure out what to do with his body, the two surfers arrive on the neighboring island. The group finds out about them, and Sal tells Richard that he needs to go and destroy their map. In the heated discussion, Sal tells the whole community that Richard slept with her. Francois heard this and was heartbroken. First, by Richard's betrayal, and second, by his lies. Naturally, she goes back to Etienne, and Richard is now isolated from the rest of the group. The isolation starts getting to him, and he starts hallucinating. He imagines talking with the deceased Daffy. We can't make out what the two are yelling about, but we know that they shake hands and then begin shooting at strangers through a window using a machine gun. However, no one dies. Richard is just imagining people on a beach. It doesn't take long for the surfers to reach the island. However, before they can find the community, the Thai farmers find them. The two are immediately killed, and Richard witnesses the whole thing. In the jungle, he smothers Cristo, ending his life and suffering. Then, he goes to Etienne and Francois to convince them to leave the island. As they're about to make their escape, the armed farmers capture Richard, Etienne, and Francois. Since these three weren't part of the original group, the guards know that the community broke the rules. They allowed newcomers onto the island. So now, they force Sal to make a choice. The leader gives her a gun and tells her that she will have to kill Richard if they want to stay. If she doesn't, everyone must leave the island immediately. After a little hesitation and a lot of yelling from Richard, Sal finally pulls the trigger. The gun doesn't fire. The farmers gave her a blank. However, now everyone knew that she was willing to kill members of the community just so they could stay on the island. None of the community members want to stay there anymore. After this night, they began packing all of their belongings, and everyone went their separate ways. Sal was left alone on the island, abandoned by all of her former friends. Richard goes back to the United States and resumes his life as normal. However, while sitting at an internet cafe, he gets an email notification. He opens the email and notices it's from Francois. She had sent him a photograph the group took earlier, reminding Richard of all the wonderful times they spent together.